Hello, intrepid viewers. Welcome. Sunday morning in Australia. And I've got my new T-shirt on. This is a bit of history. 1973, the right to choose. That was our slogan back in the day before Roe versus Wade. In the rest of the world, it was called the right to choose, So I normally don't plug any companies or anything on this channel, as you know. I don't even plug myself, but they're called Dissent Wear, and so they have some great slogan T-shirts and buttons if you're interested. Now, I've been doing mass collaborations, including Hogarth's channel and Jen Lynn's channel and lots of things recently, so you can go and check out those too. Okay, but today we're honing in. Now, there's this new third party being mooted. Andrew Yang seems to have gone to the dark side, and he's now talking with Conservatives about forming a third party. As we all know, that doesn't go down that well. It usually just splits the vote. But in this case, wouldn't it be good if it split the vote? But is it going to get up? It's got one of those weird names, what, Future of America or Ford America or something stupid. So let's kick off with that. So presumably this is sort of reasonable Conservatives, if there's any such thing. And we'll have a look. Tell me about this third party. What can we expect to see? All right. Oh, the world, that's big. Oh. Well, you'd have to say this is a mixed bag, right? At the moment, there's a lot of people, I'm sure, independent voters and Conservatives who aren't the worst of the worst, like Joe Scarborough and Glenn Kirshner and the whole Lincoln Project and all of that. So there's a lot of wands in the fire, if you like. A lot of people are looking at this option, not just Andrew Yang and a couple of friends. There's a lot of people. And the reason they're motivated, of course, is they've been stabbed in the back by the old GOP. But I think they're going to struggle to decide. Sorry, I'll turn off my phone. I thought I'd done that. A lot of people won't be happy. It'll be very hard for them, I think, to please everybody. So because everyone's coming in at the ground floor of a new party, everyone wants it to be like they want it to be and not what the others want. So I think it'll be quite difficult for them. Not impossible. The world, this is the end of a giant cycle, right? And the beginning of a new one. It needs to happen. But will it be a new party or a reinvention of the old party? We will see, because here is the magician card. So there is the power and the energy and the impetus to do this thing. But anyone who's been on any meeting of more than two people knows how complicated it is to get it right for everybody, right? So we'll keep an eye on that. Now, Pompeo and Manchin are in negotiations with J6 to talk to the committee without being subpoenaed. So I want to have a look. I just read sort of on this with Jen Lynn and Becca, but I'd like to dig deeper on Pompeo. Manchin, I think, is, oh, he'll take care of himself. He's just dreadful. But Pompeo was the one who wrote the book. They all write these stupid books that no one reads. And he did, I think from what I've read, extracts of the book, he did admit to more things that he didn't admit to at the time. So what's his testimony likely to look at? What's it going to cover? How much will he reveal? These are shameless people. I mean, oh. Okay. Pompeo's testimony. What will it look like? Oh, he gets the magician again. I gave it a good shot. And the world again. Oh, my God, that's ridiculous. Moving to a safer place and the death card. I think that's interesting. These two cards should come up because I automatically, when I put cards down and then I put them back in the deck, I put them in different places in the deck. So it's not as though these two cards were together when they went in. So they've come back for a reason. He's convinced of his own power. You know, he's one of those people who's absolutely convinced he's a legend in his own lunchtime, you know, and I think he thinks he's more powerful than he is, or even that he was, you know. So his testimony will, I think, with this card, involve some overseas revelations. Wasn't he Secretary of State? It's hard to keep it all straight, isn't it? This involves other countries. So the juicy bit of his testimony, I think, will be about Trump's instructions to him, even though they're J6 and focused on that, other countries. So maybe he was expected to get some support for the Yeti or something through other countries. He's doing this because he wants to stay out of jail and move to a safer place. No mysteries. However, he then gets the death card. So I'm thinking here, Pompeo, I don't know how much he was liked or not liked at the time. He strikes me as one of those smug, arrogant guys that other men don't like. Do you know what I mean? And here is the death card. And one can only hope, terrible thing to say, one can only suggest that it could be the end of his political career. Like a lot of them, he'll then go into private business. And should they keep their pensions? No. Will they keep their pensions? Yes. What is wrong with this picture? Ooh. Okay. But I don't think he's going to have much of a future going forward in terms of American politics. I could be wrong, but we will see. Now, Cassidy Hutchinson, look, these young women have proved to be much braver than all the Republican men put together, you know. So I'm just going to dip in now and see how she's going. So, you know, we all thought she'd be whisked away into the witness protection program or something, but she seems to be still out and about, relatively speaking, and they're using more of her testimony. So let's see, Cassidy, how is she traveling? Okay, Cassidy Hutchinson. Just a quick little look. Look, speaking of careers, I think she has a much better chance than Mike Pompeo of breaking in. I think she's made a decision here. Okay. Now, of course, it's been emotional. How could it not be if you're 25 and you're doing all this stuff? It has been a burden for her. But she's prepared to speak the truth at any price, something that sets her apart from most of the political comrades, you know. Right. But she's got a strategy, and I think her strategy, see the globe in the hand, I think she's deliberately not hiding, and I think she feels she's safer by being more public. Do you know what I mean? She's taken that route. She could go the route of wearing the blonde wig and, dressing differently and all of that. And she hasn't, and I don't think she is. And I don't think she is going to go into secrecy. And she's not cowed. She's not cowed by this. And I think she's strategizing for her future. Now, I think the story of the week has to be Joe Manchin finally agreeing to something, right? Are we supposed to stop and applaud? Really? No, Joe. That'd be a no. So when you read the fine print of the bill that he finally agreed to, there were 40 elements to the bill, and he cut out 38 of them. He let 2 through. Okay. So one of them was, bear with me with the technicals here. So one of them was he agreed to a new type of minimum tax of 15% for big companies. Okay, good. However, he said no to capital gains tax on uber wealthy. So at least this is 15% coming through. He also agreed to sort of puff up and beef up the IRS enforcement of tax collections. Now, that sounds good when you say, oh, we're going to make big companies pay 15% tax, because I don't know about you, but I do resent myself paying more tax than Google and Microsoft and Apple. We all pay more tax than they do, right? So this is hardly, anyway, I'm rambling. Stop it. Okay, so I think it's something, but there can be unintended consequences. And I'm worried that this beefing up of IRS enforcement will mean they'll come after small people with the new extra bodies and the extra equipment or whatever beefing up means, and not go after who was intended, like big companies. Ugh. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But worse than that, worse than anything, really, was the GOP reaction. They were so pissed off at Manchin doing this. What did they do? After ratifying a bill for the vets that was targeted to help servicemen and women who'd been exposed to burn pits. And also, I didn't realize till just today, also children of veterans. Then they went and cut the throat of that bill. How dare they do that? I'm sure you've all seen it. The fist pumping that went on because they blocked that bill. So my question is, are voters offended enough by this obscene act? Will it shift any votes? The treatment of veterans, will it shift any votes? I hope it shifts some votes in the military, because traditionally armed forces personnel tends to vote a bit more conservative, and they've been so badly treated. Remember Trump saying only losers go to war and all of that. It's just such abuse of veterans. Ugh. Let's see. Will it shift anybody's vote? Surely. Will it shift anybody's vote? Okay. Justice. Oh, I got a very rare reversal. That's kind of intriguing. Okay. The justice card, if there's any justice in the world, it will shift some people finally, particularly young people. Now, young people, this is a young person with the sword raised. I think younger voting armed service people, they've been in the military at a time when they've only seen this. They haven't had the glamour and the glory and the historical relationship going through. So I think their votes are going to change. Their votes are going to change. The Ace of Pentacles, which was the financial help that was withdrawn. This is the Ace of Wands, doing something about it, something concrete, reversed. So I think it will impact. It's not enough to sway the whole election, of course, or anything, but it speaks to the lack of morality of the entire party. It is so appalling. Right. Oh my God. Truly, these people. Okay. So by request, I have coming up here a look at the UK, but I'd rather do something a bit more detailed later. And I want to do a quick one on Trump. But here, first of all, I digress. I was asked to read on Eric Greitens of Missouri running for Senate. His first wife is in hiding. His second wife has accused him of abuse. And then there was that story about kidnapping a hairdresser and photographing her and blackmailing her and stuff. How disgusting. But I think he's too filthy to even read on. So I'll just say to that viewer, sorry, I'm not actually reading. Suffice to say, the man is Smuckville, absolute Smuckville. Oh no, I will. I can't help it. A little quick one on Eric Greitens, and then we move to the Yeti himself. Oh, I think there's enough gone down. He gets a strength card, which is normally uber positive, you know, like inner fortitude, inner strength. But it's also about taming our animal instincts, this card. And he has failed with the moon card here to tame his animal instincts. On top of everything, he is a fool, and here he is out in the cold. So he could have got away with abusing an ex-wife. He could have got away with one or other of those things, but I think there's simply too many. So I think Eric Greitens is on the skids. There we go. Now, Trump. Every poll that comes out is showing Trump in a weaker position, usually to DeSantis, but regardless. So it's gone from one poll, which is 35% of Republicans would still support him. And now it's shifting. This most recent poll, 55% of GOP voters, according to a Murdoch poll, which is why Murdoch's Fox and everything are starting to cut him loose. Of course, they prefer DeSantis, but and that's another issue for all of us, but he's on the skids. So the Yeti, having buried his wife's ashes at the golf course, so he doesn't have to pay taxes. I mean, really. So where is the Yeti as we speak? What's going on in his head? What is going on in his head? Where is he at? Oh, bless. Look, this is really interesting. I'd go as far as to say it's almost like he's bleeding out the population. He's clinging on to what he's got left. But this is not a figure who is a commanding force. This is not someone with the power he had. This is just clinging on by his fingernails. He's conflicted and he doesn't even understand why he's not as popular as he was. He really, really doesn't get it. He's come to the absolute end of one huge cycle, and the world will be relieved to see the back of him. The main problem he's got, again, young people, I keep getting this in my readings, it's all down to young people must participate and vote because they have to bring on stream the energy to the future and demand what they need to have a future. Okay. So this, then, young people are the key to restoring America. And Trump is not in this picture. The only card representing him, how he's feeling and all of that, well, apart from the internal conflict, well, he's a Gemini, so pardon to all Geminis, but he is, you know, one day he's feeling all right, the next day he's down in the dumps. This is the key. He's just clinging on. I hope that we can all move on, although the theatre will be gone, but this is not a powerful creature. His back has been broken, I think, as a powerful emperor-like figure. He will still have his rusted on base, but it's dwindling. It's probably going from 35% to maybe 25% by the time all the hearings end. So what I love about these hearings is, regardless of people who are all getting their news, people who say, I'm not watching them, I'm just not watching them. You can't help but hear about things. So I think this is this, I'm getting this image of just leaching. His blood is leaching from his body. Oh my God. Now, before I go, I want to pay tribute. One of the greatest Aboriginal songwriters and singers in Australia's history, Archie Roach, passed away 2 nights ago. Archie used to come to our house a lot. I have many, many close memories, but so do thousands of other people. The man was a god. His anthem song was called They Took the Children Away, because Australia, like America and Canada, took Indigenous children away, allegedly to boarding schools and other things, but Australia took it further, and the Australian government took children away from their parents until the 70s, 1972. Okay, so people are still living this hell because then they were lied to when they were put in orphanages and told your parents didn't want you or your parents are dead. These terrible things. And so they spend their entire life trying to find family again. And Archie Roach was a stolen child, as was his wife, Ruby Hunter. And they just were such powerhouses of love. And so I'm going to put up a link. So if you want to get your tissues out and have a good cry, it's a healthy cry, and blessings to Archie and Ruby. So I'll leave it there. Thanks, guys.